Welcome to Transform Now, the podcast brought to you by robotic process automation pioneer Blue Prism. Digital transformation has the potential to reshape the way companies service their customers, engage their employees, and manage their operations. Whether you're looking to develop strategies, tactics, and best practices to positively impact the future of work, or you're curious to learn how other companies have successfully navigated their digital transformation programs, then this podcast is for you. We're here to help you transform now.
Hello and welcome to Transform Now. This is Xina Seaton, Vice President of Customer Experience for Blue Prism and co-founder of Women in RPA. Welcome to the show today. I have with me Daisy Moreno. Hi, Daisy.
Hi, Xina. How are you today?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
Wonderful. Thank you. A little bit cold here in Canada, but doing well.
Interestingly enough, I'm a little bit cold here in Texas, too.
It's amazing how technology works, huh?
It is indeed. Daisy, how about introduce yourself to our listeners and tell us a little bit about yourself and your business and what you do.
Absolutely. My name is Daisy Moreno. I am the Senior Engagement Manager currently working for the Pay Solutions branch for Public Works and Government Services Canada. I currently manage projects for robotic process automation and very happy to work in that field. And at the same time, I've been actually in the government for about 16 years and working in these particular initiatives, I would say almost for now 3.5 years.
So as a woman in RPA, before we jump into some of our other conversations, I'm curious, how did you come about your career in RPA?
It's been a very interesting journey. I basically came into a team where we were actually looking into having something called an innovation challenge. And it was a very interesting, a very interesting departure for this particular innovative idea or project. Within the innovation challenge that was actually put out, we had 6 different initiatives, and robotic process automation was one of them. So working with my bosses, we decided to basically start up this particular initiative. And basically the first phase of our initiative actually was a competition between 2 different RPA vendors, where basically they had to do fit gap analysis of different processes. And basically, because it was a competition, we were able to do evaluation on the technical and then also on the financial. So it was an interesting dynamic and an interesting initiation of how RPA came about to be.
Very cool. Well, I hope that Blue Prism came out on top of that competition.
You guys did.
Absolutely. So how have you seen your world change in the 3 years that you've been in RPA?
It's really been quite a journey, I have to say. From the perspective of adopting new technology, bringing it to a government stage, doing security assessments, going through vulnerability scans, meeting different types of controls, getting buy-in. All of these have been components that have been quite an experience because we had nothing to compare it to. So it has been a very big learning experience.
I know that you have had a lot of successes in your business in the last 3 years. What challenges have you been solving that your citizens or your fellow employees are having that automation is helping bring solutions for?
We basically, one of our successes, which in turn is actually 3, was our initial deployment that happened in November of 2020, where we automated 3 different processes for one of our clients, and being the pay center. And in this particular automation, we've managed to basically reduce highly repetitive manual tasks for our advisors, improve in process accuracy, streamline the process as well, also relocate a human effort to focus on more complex areas, direct support to also for meeting the Government of Canada priorities, digitalization of Government of Canada, and also modernizing IT systems. Also, on top of that, we have a digital workforce that actually is working at the present time 16 hours, 7 days a week. So we have had a very big success from that particular perspective. We've been working in very strong collaboration with our business to ensure that we're meeting these goals. I can proudly say that we've been running the operations for the bots that we currently have in production. It's been over a year now. And on top of that, we are in the process of automating other processes that we're hoping to be able to release in the early spring.
That's great. And one process that you mentioned was around your pay center, which is a classic automation in the finance area. Have you expanded outside of a finance setting and implemented automations that are impacting your citizens and or your employees?
The processes that we're doing are mainly internal to GC priorities or pay. We are currently working on other projects with other stakeholders to be able to expand those processes of automation.
With your first automation going live in November of 2020, we all were clearly in a much different place than we were the year prior. How did COVID change or impact the priorities that you had as an automation team?
It was interesting because that year of deployment, we had to go through many different hurdles that we were never counting on going through. For one, everyone was sent to work. Two, we had to deal with networking issues because everyone was working from home. So stability with the networks and security accesses for different components. But despite all those challenges, I would say we were able to make it through. But as far as the priorities and how our world has changed, I think it has, for one, it has allowed us to prove that we can definitely accomplish our targets, our projects working from home with due diligence, consistency, organization, communication, and collaboration for sure. But I think most importantly, it has brought to light the fact that even though with we having different workforce that can work or has come sick, that we can also depend on the technologies that we have to be able to support still running the operations. So that's one of the keys, I think, that has become a little bit more evident through the pandemic.
So that's definitely a key way in which you and your team is supporting your colleagues and your employees. What is one of the biggest impacts that you may have had on your citizens directly?
We don't deal with the public. We mainly deal with the internal stakeholders within the government. But as far as impact, I would say is we have a lot of interest. We have a lot of collaboration and information finding. People are very excited to get to know what is RPA, what does it do, how does it work. So I think it's also starting to be slowly a bit of a culture change and a little bit more of a acceptance, I would say, to the technologies. And I think what has driven that in part has been the fact that we've had to work from home, exploring new avenues to get the work done.
Yes, agree. One of the things that automation is enabling the future of work is for people to be more creative and to use more of the human skills, the skills that the robots or the digital workers don't have. And
Yeah.
you mentioned earlier that removing the mundane tasks from some of the colleagues that you have has enabled them to move on to more complex work.
Absolutely.
Can you share with us maybe a story about what that looks like and what that complex work is and the value that's unlocking for your business, your government, that would have just been completely capped off before because that worker was expected to behave like a robot?
I think that the best example that I can give you is the fact that we have various tasks that basically are highly repetitive, very manual, that are done by our business. And these manual repetitive tasks, given the fact that we have a lot of work that needs to be processed on a daily basis, but on the same token, if there is a backlog, we require to have these resources trained to be able to resolve complex cases. Now, what that means is that we can definitely direct the manual repetitive tasks to a digital worker. Now, That doesn't mean that we can give absolutely everything that's manual and repetitive. It has to meet certain conditions and certain criteria for it to be automated. But that being said, it does not mean that by giving the repetitive tasks to be automated by a digital worker, that we will let go of people. Absolutely not. In the contrary, we are hiring more people. And I think that's one of the key important things that needs to come across is that we are hiring, we're training people to learn about RPA. We are hiring and also training people to focus on complex tasks. Given that our business is very complex as it is, we're augmenting, we're not reducing. And that's one of the key things, I think, that's very important to mention.
Yes, I don't quite see as much fear, uncertainty, and doubt today around
No.
automation causing loss of jobs as I did when I entered this market myself in 2018. There does seem to be more of an understanding that automation is here to stay.
Yeah.
Whereas maybe we still wanted to kick the can down the road a little bit and think that maybe it wasn't 4 years ago. So given that it's here to stay, what are your predictions for 2022 and how automation will continue to impact your digital transformation in the business that you run?
I think that given the fact that we have gotten used to through the pandemic to live with bots such as Alexa, Siri, Cortana, people have become a little bit more comfortable with the uses of the technology. Or let's say, for example, on a daily basis, just using your Amazon and having your Alexa to command when you're looking for something, it's become a little bit more accepted. Now, as far as robotic process automation, I can definitely say that it's going to become, I think, an automation for different processes for businesses, private sector, government in general, that it's going to become more adopted because there is so many tasks that can be automated to facilitate the administrative work, to facilitate like human resources, to facilitate the processing of pay, to facilitate other different types of tasks. I think what we require mainly is just having the imagination and creativity, collaboration to be able to further utilize the technology that we currently have. And I think that's going to become more evident as the time goes by, for sure.
So I'm going to switch gears just a bit, go back maybe to where we started. Is RPA a good career for women to pursue, but not just women, all for younger generation? We've said it's here to stay. It's definitely making an impact. What would you say to our younger generation or our females out there who are maybe considering a career in RPA? Is this a good one? And what should they do to jump into it if they're interested?
I would definitely encourage the young generations and women in general to become engaged into information technology. It has a lot of benefits. It has been mainly a male-driven career path, but the more and more I see as I do interviews and I screen different candidates, I see that there is a lot more female interest. I think that it's unfortunate that in the schools, they don't really encourage too much female engagement, information technology. But I think that slowly but surely more and more girls are becoming interested. I think it's a great career path. I think there is a lot of exciting things that can be done in girls for them to create and use. And I think at the same time that from a girl perspective, there's just so much that we can do. Because I believe in it so much, I can definitely say that we have hired a Blue Prism trainer in my team to actually train my staff. I have requested access for the Blue Prism University for all my employees to take all the courses. I'm encouraging them to become at a start level associate developer to get their certifications. I'm paying for them. I'm really trying to encourage them by providing the personal trainer, granting them access to the courses, trying to get deal for the certification as far as the pricing. On top of that, YouTube has some wonderful training videos that are for Blue Prism as well that we have access to. There is also videos in regards to taking the exams, which I think it's wonderful. So I think with all these tools, I think we can only put the girls, not only to encourage them, but to put them in a great path to be able to have access. And I think that's one of the key things, granting access to those who are interested, that it's not costly to them for them to actually learn. And that's one key important thing, I think. So all for girls learning and taking RPA.
We'll make sure to continue to promote it in everything that we do here at Blue Prism and Women in RPA as well. Daisy, I really have appreciated your joining us today and have enjoyed our conversation. Any closing thoughts you'd like to share?
Absolutely. I would have to say that I am very proud of my team. I am very excited about the support that I've received from my management to encourage and to adopt the culture of RPA. On the same token, very thankful for having the business stakeholders that we work with to collaborate in our projects. But more importantly, I have to say that we have also gotten great support from the Blue Prism staff to encourage us and to support us from our beginning of the path that we've had till today and hopefully ongoing in the future. Very thankful, and thank you guys for the invitation.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you for being our partner in your business and intelligent automation. Thank you to our listeners for joining us today, and we look forward to having you join us on our next episode of Transform Now.
Thanks for tuning in to Transform Now. For more insightful discussions on digital transformation and more, check out our podcast channel where you'll find all of our previous episodes. To make sure you never miss an episode, subscribe to the show on your favorite podcast player. And if you like what you heard, please leave us a review. For more information about digital transformation and the future of work, check out blueprism.com to learn how Blue Prism's digital workforce is enabling enterprise transformation now.